still your chest feels tight. Still, your mind runs the same circles at 2 a.m. when the world is asleep and it is just you and your thoughts. And maybe, quietly, you have started to wonder, why is this not getting easier? Why can I not just let go? This reminder is not going to tell you to simply stop worrying. You already know you should. Knowing has not made it easier. And you deserve more than just another reminder to have more faith. What this is going to do is walk with you into the weight, into the uncertainty, and towards something that can actually change how this feels from the inside. Because there is a way through this, not around it, not by pretending it does not hurt, but through it with Allah beside you every single step. And by the time this reminder ends, I hope your chest feels just a little lighter than it did when you started. There is something that happens to a believer when they are going through a hard time. Something that makes it even harder. You are already dealing with the problem itself, the situation, the uncertainty, the fear of what might happen. But then something else creeps in quietly on top of all of that. Guilt. A small voice that says, if you really trusted Allah, you would not feel this way. If your faith was strong enough, you would not be this afraid. A good Muslim should not be sitting here worrying like this. And suddenly you are not just carrying the original problem anymore. You are carrying the problem and the shame of feeling it. Can I tell you something gently? That voice is not the truth. Feeling worried does not mean your faith is weak. Feeling afraid does not mean Allah is disappointed in you. Feeling uncertain does not mean you have failed as a believer. It means you are human. Think about Ibrahim alayhi salam, one of the greatest human beings who ever lived. A man whose trust in Allah was so deep that Allah called him his close friend. And yet, when he was commanded to leave his wife Hajar and his infant son alone in a barren valley with nothing around them, he walked away with a heart that was heavy. He did not skip away feeling nothing. He felt the weight of that moment completely. He was not weak. He was human. And his trust in Allah did not erase the feeling. It simply determined where he took it. That is the difference. Not the absence of fear, not the pretending that everything feels fine, but where you take the fear when it arrives. Think about someone who gets an unexpected phone call with bad news. Their heart drops immediately. Their mind starts racing. That is not a failure of faith. That is a human being receiving something hard. What matters is what they do next. Do they sit alone inside the fear and let it grow? Or do they eventually turn and carry it toward Allah? Worry is not the opposite of trust. Worry is just what trust looks like before it finds its footing. And right now, you are finding yours. Here is something worth sitting with for a moment. When we worry, what are we actually doing? We are trying to solve in our minds what we cannot solve with our hands. We take the problem and we turn it over again and again. We look at it from this angle and then that angle. We imagine this outcome and then that outcome. We run through every possible scenario, every worst case, every what if, and then we do it all again. Not because it is helping, But because some part of us believes that if we just think about it hard enough, long enough, something will shift. Something will click. The answer will finally appear. But it does not appear because the mind was never designed to carry what only Allah can carry. There is a difference, a real felt difference between thinking about a problem and genuinely handing it to Allah. Most of us do something in between. We pray, we make dua, we ask Allah to help us, and then the moment salah ends, we reach back and pick the problem up again. We carry it back to bed with us. We carry it into our morning. We carry it into conversations with people who have nothing to do with it. We carry it everywhere. And we wonder why we are so exhausted. Imagine for a moment that you are carrying a bag. Not a light bag, a heavy one. The kind that makes your shoulders ache and your steps slow. And someone who is far stronger than you, someone who could carry this without even feeling it, reaches out and says, "Give it to me, I will carry it." And you hand it over. But then, a few minutes later, you reach out and take it back, quietly, almost without realizing it. And a few minutes after that, you take it back again. That is what worry does. It keeps reaching back for what you already placed in Allah's hands. It does not trust the handover. It convinces you that you need to keep holding it. That letting go completely is somehow irresponsible. That you are the only one keeping this situation from falling apart. But here's the truth. You were never the one holding it together. Allah was, Allah is, and He does not need you to carry what He has already agreed to hold. So what would it feel like just for today to actually leave it with Him? Not halfway, not with one hand still gripping it, fully, completely, with both hands open. There is a misunderstanding that quietly holds a lot of people back. And it sounds like this. If I just trust Allah, then I do not need to do anything. I just wait. I just leave it. Allah will sort it out. And so they wait. And nothing moves. And then they wonder why trusting Allah did not seem to work. But that is not tawakkul. That is not what trusting Allah looks like in Islam. Not even close. Tawakkul is not sitting still and waiting for a miracle to arrive at your door. Tawakkul is getting up, making every honest effort within your ability, taking every real step available to you, and then releasing the outcome. Not gripping it. Not controlling it, not lying awake, trying to force a result that only Allah can produce. The effort is yours. The outcome belongs to Allah. You still make the phone call, you still send the application, you still go to the appointment, you still have the difficult conversation, you still take the next step, even when you cannot see the one after it. But after the step, you let go of what happens next. That combination, effort and surrender together, that is tawakkul. And no one in all of Islamic history showed this more beautifully than the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ during the migration from Mecca to Medina. He did not simply sit in his home and say, Allah will move me. He planned. He chose a trusted companion. He took an unexpected route to avoid the enemy. He arranged for someone to cover his tracks. Every human effort that could be made was made with care, with wisdom, with full use of what Allah had given him. And then, after all of that planning, after all of that effort, they found themselves hiding in the cave of Thawr. The enemy was outside, just steps away, close enough to hear. And in that moment, when there was nothing left that human hands could do, he turned to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and said with complete stillness, "Do not grieve. Allah is with us." Not panic, not desperation, stillness. Because he had done everything within his ability, and he had placed the rest fully and completely in the hands of Allah. That is what tawakkul looks like in real life. Not the absence of effort, not the absence of fear, but the presence of Allah in the middle of both. You are not required to know how it will work out. You are only required to take the next honest step and leave the rest in hands that never shake. I want you to do something for a moment. Not a big thing, just a small, quiet thing. I want you to think back over your life. Not the good parts only, the hard parts. The moments that felt impossible. The situations you were absolutely certain you would not get through. Think about that one time when everything felt like it was falling apart at once. When you could not see any way forward. When the worry was so heavy it sat on your chest like something physical. Do you remember that time? Now look at where you are today. You got through it. Maybe it did not resolve the way you wanted. Maybe the outcome was different from what you prayed for. But you are here, still standing, still breathing, still moving forward. And somewhere along the way, even when you could not see it happening, Allah made a way. He always has. Think about the doors that closed in your life that felt like loss at the time. The job that did not work out. The plan that fell apart. The relationship that ended. The opportunity that seemed to disappear. And think about what came after. Not always immediately. Not always in the way you expected. But something came. Something opened. Something arrived that you could not have predicted from inside the fear. Because you could only see the closed door. Allah could see the entire corridor. There is a person who loses their job unexpectedly. Everything they built their security around, suddenly gone. Months of fear follow. Months of not knowing. And then something new opens. Something that fits them better, pays them better, brings them more peace than the old path ever did. They could not see that from inside the panic. But Allah could see it before the door even closed. That is who is holding your situation right now. Not someone who is guessing. Not someone who is hoping it works out. Someone who already sees the end of this story. Who already knows exactly what is being prepared for you on the other side of this difficulty. He saw the end of every hard chapter in your life before you lived the first line of it. And He is seeing the end of this one too. So let me ask you something honest. If you look back at your life and you see that Allah has never once abandoned you, never once left you without a way through, why would right now be any different? It would not. It will not. He has never once dropped what you gave Him. And He is not about to start now. I want to talk about something that does not get mentioned enough. Not what worry feels like. You already know what it feels like. But what it actually takes from you. Because worry does not just sit quietly in the background. It does not just make you feel a little uncomfortable and then leave you alone. It moves into your life and it starts taking things quietly, gradually, one by one. It takes your sleep first. Those hours in the night that were meant for rest, worry fills them. It pulls you out of sleep and sits you upright in the dark with the same thoughts you fell asleep trying to escape. And you wake up the next morning already exhausted before the day has even started. Then it takes your presence. You can be sitting at the dinner table with the people you love most in this world and be completely somewhere else. Your body is there, but your mind is 3 weeks into a future that has not happened yet. Rehearsing conversations, imagining outcomes, preparing for disasters that may never arrive. Your children are talking to you. Your spouse is beside you. A moment that will one day become a memory is happening right in front of you. And worry is stealing it. Think about a mother who spends years consumed with anxiety about her children's future, so focused on what might go wrong, so deep inside the fear of tomorrow, that she cannot fully feel the gift of today. And one day she looks up and realizes they grew up and she was there for all of it, but not fully present for any of it. That is what worry costs. Not just peace, not just sleep, but the actual moments of your actual life. The present moment, this breath, this day, this ordinary Tuesday that feels like nothing is where Allah's mercy is actually arriving right now in what is already here. Worry asks you to live in a future that belongs to Allah while missing a present that He already filled with gifts you have stopped noticing. So ask yourself gently, what is worry asking you to miss right now? What is it keeping you from seeing? Because whatever it is too precious to lose to a fear that Allah has already agreed to carry for you. So how do you actually do it? Not in theory, not in a beautiful reminder that you listen to and then forget by the time you reach the kitchen, but in real life, in the middle of a Tuesday, that feels heavy. In the moment the anxious thought comes back for the 4th time today, how do you actually let go? The first thing to understand is this. Letting go is not one dramatic moment. It is not one big prayer where everything suddenly lifts and you never worry again. It is smaller than that, quieter than that. It is a choice you make again and again. Sometimes hour by hour. Sometimes minute by minute. The anxious thought comes back. And instead of grabbing it and running with it, you notice it. You name it. And you return it. You say quietly from wherever you are, Ya Allah, I already gave this to you. I am giving it again right now. And that simple act, that small, repeated return, is not weakness. It is not failure. It is the whole point. Every single time you choose to hand it back instead of holding it, that is an act of trust. That is tawakkul happening in real time, in real life, in your ordinary day. You do not wait until you feel calm to trust Allah. You trust Allah in order to find calm. And sometimes your body needs help getting there before your mind catches up. When the worry is loud and your thoughts are racing, do something physical and grounding. Make wudu. Let the water be slow and intentional. Feel it. Then pray 2 rak'at. Not a rushed prayer. A present one. Stand there and breathe. Let your forehead touch the ground and just stay there for a moment longer than usual. Or step outside. Feel the air. Look up at the sky that Allah is holding in place above you without a single pillar to support it. The same Allah holding that sky is holding your situation, and then speak to Him, not with perfect words, not with a rehearsed dua, just honestly. Ya Allah, I am scared. I do not know what to do. I do not know how this is going to work out, but I know that you do, and I am leaving it with you. Something in you will shift, not always, immediately, but it will shift because you were never meant to carry this alone. And somewhere deep inside, your soul already knows that. You do not need to have it all figured out before you give it to Allah. You give it to Him precisely because you do not have it figured out. And that is exactly what He is there for. I want to tell you something, and I want you to really hear it. Not just process it, not just nod along, but actually let it land somewhere deep inside you. Right now, in this very moment, while you are sitting with that uncertainty, while you are carrying that question you cannot answer, while you are looking at your situation and genuinely not knowing how it is going to be okay, Allah is already working on it. You cannot see it yet. You cannot feel it moving from where you are standing. It might look completely still. It might look like nothing is happening. Like your du'as are going up and nothing is coming back down. But things are already moving. The way forward already exists. It has already been written. It is already being prepared. You just have not arrived at that part of the story yet. And sometimes the way looks nothing like what you imagined. Sometimes it comes from a direction you never would have thought to look. Sometimes it arrives in a form you would not have chosen for yourself. And then later, when you can see the whole picture, you realize that what Allah prepared was better than anything you had planned. Far better. Think about Maryam alayha salam, alone, in labor, under a palm tree, in the middle of nowhere with no one beside her. No help, no comfort, no idea how she was going to survive that moment. If there was ever a situation that looked completely impossible from the inside, it was that one. And yet, Allah did not just send her words of comfort. He sent her provision, real physical provision, water flowing beneath her feet, fresh dates dropping from above her head. Everything she needed was already there, already prepared, already placed exactly where she would need it. She just could not see it yet. That is the nature of Allah's provision. It is already there before you arrive at the moment you need it. It is already prepared before you can see it coming. It is already written before you even know what to ask for. Whatever you are facing right now, the way through already exists. You do not need to see the full staircase to take the next step. You only need enough light for where your foot is about to land. And Allah, in His mercy, has never let a single one of His servants step into complete darkness without placing something there to hold them. Not once. Not ever. And not you. Not now. Not this. He is already making a way. You just have to keep walking long enough to reach it. Before this reminder ends, I just want to sit with you here for one more moment. You came into this reminder carrying something. Maybe you are still carrying it. Maybe it feels a little lighter than it did at the beginning. Either way, I want you to hear this one last time before you go. Your worry does not make you weak. It makes you human. And being human, while still choosing to turn toward Allah in the middle of the fear, that is not a small thing. That is one of the most beautiful things a person can do. Tawakkul is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to keep walking toward Allah while afraid. To keep returning the worry to Him even when it keeps coming back. To keep believing that He is working, even when you cannot see the work happening. And He has never, not once in your entire life, dropped what you placed in His hands. He is not going to start now. So whatever is waiting for you on the other side of this reminder, whatever situation you are walking back into, walk back into it knowing that you are not walking alone. He is already there, already working, already making a way. And now, let us ask Him together. Ya Allah, you know exactly what we are carrying right now. You know the worry we cannot put into words. You know the fear we have been holding on to for too long. Ya Allah, take it from us. Carry what we cannot carry. Replace the tightness in our chests with trust. Replace the racing thoughts with stillness. Replace our fear of tomorrow